You went into the C-section. Your little baby was born. What were your first reactions or emotions to the situation as a whole? Did you feel present in the moment, or did you feel like your mind was somewhere else?
I wanted just to stand وأحملها. بنفس الوقت في تعب منه طبيعي بعد يومين ونص، فمني feeling helpless. You feel like you had no choice over your body, over your preference، وهيدي كتير صعبة إنه أنت ما عطوك الخيار.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Madinat Mom Podcast. I'm Nour, your host, and today we're going to be talking about something that a lot of moms can relate to, and that is the twists and the turns that come with motherhood and what really happens when things don't go according to plan. Because if there's anything we know about being mom, it's that things rarely go according to plan. But for some reason, we end up feeling a certain way about ourselves and sometimes even blaming ourselves. And joining me for the conversation today is a very good friend of mine, Hiba, who is a mom of a beautiful little girl, and she is from Lebanon, and she bravely faced an unexpected delivery that left her questioning the path that she thought she would take. And what started as a carefully planned delivery ended up being an emergency C-section, leaving her questioning herself, questioning her instincts, and the journey that she thought she would go on. And so today we're going to unpack not only her story, but also the lessons that she learned throughout and finding peace when things don't go according to plan. So, hi Habibi.
Hello, hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so happy to be here.
So you and I have been friends for a while now, and I know that now, you are doing motherhood in a certain way. I've told you before, but I think you're doing such an amazing job. Your daughter is one of the happiest little babies I know. But I also know that going into this, you didn't start this journey in the way that you had imagined you would. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about what you felt when you saw that pregnancy test. أو شو كان إحساسك when you saw that positive pregnancy test?
Good start صراحة، لأنه it's one of the best things ever. It was a mix of feelings صراحة, a wave of feelings. أول شيء عرفت إنه أبداً it's nothing like what we see in movies or series أو المسلسلات التركية تقول إنه بتكون عم تتروق خلص بتطلع she's pregnant، حتى أوقات حماتها like sign it off you're pregnant وخلص they don't go through tests. So I figured لا, it's a process and it's the best thing ever. But I think what also probably majority of women goes through هو mix of feelings, excitement, happiness, بس فيها fear, فيها anxiety, و I think all الparts تاعول responsibility الفجأة. صرت حس هيك snippets of oh my god حياتي حتغير, oh my god شو حيصير, oh my god you feel للحظات إنه 9 months are going to be هيك in split seconds. بس it's amazing. It's truly amazing.
Was it planned?
Yes, it was planned. بس I think قد ما تكوني مفكرة إنك مجهزة أو أنت جاهزة بس تصير it's a different feeling لأنه بتحسي خلاص صارت reality. It's no longer in your mind. It's no longer about you and your partner هيك selecting names or thinking about it. لا, it's real. And it started. It's great صراحة. All I can recall knowing you're pregnant is something amazing.
Did you have a preference at the time of whether you wanted a baby boy or a baby girl?
Honestly لا. My full focus من لحظة اللي عرفت أنه أنا حامل was خلقة تامة مثل ما بنقول بلبنان. يكون البيبي good, أنا good, that was fully my focus انه بس الله يتمم على خير ان شاء الله تكون smooth pregnancy و delivery. That was كتير my focus, especially أول 3 أشهر لأنه as you know the first very 3 months هن ال risk, the highest risk in like miscarriages or having any issues, major issues. So my brain within those 3 months were thinking of how I'm going to announce it to the family, to my friends. I want to be هيك مطمنة إنه الدكتور تقلي إنه everything is great, everything is smooth. لأنه even the announcement, I made it in person. I traveled back home. I wanted to tell people face to face. There were so many thoughts, but the gender مش كتير we focused at that point.
How did you break the news to your husband?
Honestly, because it was planned and because we were thinking about it a lot, we kind of were very logic about it. I did want to do one of those surprises, get the onesie. I even secretly bought the onesie, but I never did it. Like I recall like going out, talking to him about it, or telling him, and I'm pregnant. We teared, we cried instantly. Like you don't know the wave of emotions, you know. You know very well.
I've been there.
But هيك فجأة you're happy, عن جد tears of joy, tears of the unknown of what's gonna happen next. And then we wanted just I recall إنه بهيدي الفترة كان my main focus إنه I wanna hear the heartbeats. I want this to go very smooth. Like كنت كتير عندي هيدي الفكرة, which made it at the beginning شوي challenging to enjoy the pregnancy because you're a bit more in fear, or you're learning new things. You're asked to do exams أوقات ما بتعرفيهم, tests ما بتعرفي ليه, أو even when you ask, I was thrown with medical terms ماني familiar with at all, where I'm like, okay, let's do it, and then you do a bit of research, which I advise not to صراحة unless it makes you comfortable. But it made me be that period thinking more and more, which ما كان له لزوم, like just enjoy it.
Yeah, the information overload can lead to a lot of anxiety. I think information is a double-edged sword. We need it, but at the same time, it can also impact you in a negative way if you come across the information in a wrong way. And the first trimester is always come in very tricky. You're trying to get comfortable with your doctor. You're still trying to navigate the first signs of pregnancy. Usually nobody around you knows, so you have to keep it together. But at the same time, on the inside, you just feel like you want to lay in bed all day. Tell me a little bit about your first trimester. Did you have any of the common symptoms that we know? I've read that when you're pregnant with a girl, and I experienced this, you have a lot of nausea, you throw up. I mean, I had morning sickness at all times of the day. So how was your experience?
Oh my God, Nour, you now mentioning it, تذكرتهم. هيك فجأة ما أتذكر. Because it's very true. I did experience it وأول 3 أشهر mainly, exactly as you said. So at that time, we decided to keep it private. We decided not to share, and I was experiencing all of this. I recall one of the things اللي كتير weird. I'm someone who loves drinking water. بهول 3 أشهر وكافي of course. بهول 3 أشهر I could not smell coffee. I could not drink water. كرهت any water flavor. وهيدا شيء من هون بلشت the humbling experience of not to judge. لأنه previously I used to judge people who say I hate drinking water. I'm like معقول في حدا ما بحب المي? Well yeah, there are so many people. ما بالك بفترة هيدا الأول trimester, so many things changed. I was barely eating, morning sickness all day. I lived off crackers, I think coconut water, There were like very very specific items وغير هيك I couldn't accept anything else.
And then نزلتوا على لبنان to tell the family. And I can imagine before sharing the news, you got a lot of عقبال ما نقشعلكن and all of that, because let's face it, in Lebanon, and I think in the Middle East in general, people, before you get married, عقبالك, after you get married, عقبال ما نقشعلكن, after you have your first kid, they want a sibling for the kid. I think we're all sort of used to that. So I can imagine the reaction that they had back home. بس خبرينا شوي, when you went, how did you tell them? What was their reaction?
I love remembering that as well. لأنه نحن we knew I'm pregnant at the very very right timing. كان في كتير اشياء عم تقطع ولبنان قطع بكتير قصص وكان في اشياء among like our small circle و bigger circle بالfamilies, and we really really wanted this news. We were ready to hear such a news. We were ready to share it with the family, بس أكيد كان قبل قاطع فترة طويلة of people يلا شو موسيتين لنا عشي. Literally smart terms that I'm very unfamiliar with when coming back من سفر و hearing even people that you met only at your wedding probably كمان giving like advices, جيبيهم مع بعض كلهم سوا بتتعب بسنة وانت probably you haven't had the discussion with جوزك بعد يعني, بس هن they did set the plan for you, what to do, when to do it, yet you feel a bit of a relief انه خلص صار فينا نخبر تانت بالطابق 7-6 كلهم خبرون انه صارت الخبرية. At first it was great لأنه it was summertime, it was June. We were going to attend a wedding for a very very close friend. Spoiler alert, I couldn't. I got really sick, but good sickness. So we were going to our like close friends or families, visiting them. And while we're there and out of nowhere, like announcing it while we're seated and seeing the expression or the happiness, and you genuinely feel قد ايه العالم بتنبسط لك بالاشياء الحلوة و like how they support و immediately they feel the urge. I think hey culturally they want to give you advices regardless of ما تشربي هي اشربي هي اعملي هيك, and it's out of love. صراحة ما بتضايق لأنه you can tell إنه they want to offer you something. Like we're a very warm and hospitable type of people, so we would do it in any way, whether it's an advice, get you something, قعدي مرتاحة, do anything, and that's lovely. That's actually very lovely.
I think the unsolicited advice just comes with the package, right? But it's usually well-intentioned, but it can also be overwhelming. Especially as a new mom, you're still figuring everything out as you go, and hearing all of these advice coming from different people in your lives, some that are close to you, some that are not, even social media, you get a lot of advice on social media. It can be overwhelming trying to figure out what works for you when you haven't even experienced having a baby as well. So definitely it's well intentioned, but sometimes you just need to go like, okay, just give me a minute to process, and I'm sure they had in mind something that they wanted to do for you after you gave birth to your baby. I know in Lebanon we have the merle, very common, but you're from specifically. Do you guys do anything traditional different than the rest of Lebanon?
Yeah, that's true. حتى آخر كم سنة صار it's كتير trending to do like a lavish huge chocolate stand مع souvenir مع chocolate and candies. What we do, which I found weird, لأنه even I noticed يعني بقى is a huge geographical area بلبنان. So even بين منطقة ومنطقة things differ a lot. So حتى بوقتها I learned لأنه مثلا عائلة جوزي was not familiar with something that we offer على طول. بس المرة تولد اللي هو it's a drink called Inar. And I recall انه لانه هي it's specific herbs واعشاب معينه بيجيبوها من عطار and you do it you serve it مع walnuts واشياء specific له للدرينك. ف I recall انه حدا قال لي انه what is it؟ لا we're not familiar with it انه عن جد تعملوه. و for me it was انه اكيد يعني my childhood كنت بس حب نزور حدا جاي بيبي لأنا أشرب هيدا الدرينك لأنه it's an advanced tea كتير قوي بس كتير طيب وكتير gives warmth كمان. I think there is benefit لأله أنه it's directly بعد ما المرأة تولد probably it helps with something بيقولوا بس I'm not really aware of what is it for me it's هيك tradition everyone serves it so خلص it comes without saying يعني.
I'm one of the people that hasn't heard of it, by the way. I've heard of مغلي. We did مغلي when my daughter was born, but we didn't have enough, so you're gonna have to learn to do it. رح تعملي لنا when the baby is born.
تكرم عينك. I learn it. I think it's very easy صراحة بس خلص هيدا on me I promise.
Is that only for mom or is it for mom and guests?
Guests. Okay. So it's exactly like مغلي. So بيجوا بيعطون المغلي they wait a bit بيعطون الإنار so it's part of the package the إنار. وهلأ أنت وعم تقوليها I find it fascinating إنه نحن المغلي منقول له مغلي بس هو it's really cold. سمعتها at some point إنه it's funny مغلي it means boiling and we serve it super cold. We eat it only cold. I hope everyone else
was food. So you told your family, you told your friends, you went through the pregnancy, you were glowing during your pregnancy. I remember I would see you and I would always tell you this, and I meant it, that you had such a glow to you and it really showed how you were so fulfilled and so happy from the inside out. So how were you preparing for the birth of your little girl? What is it that you had in mind? What kind of expectations did you have going into this? And how was that impacting, your preparation for this?
حبيبي you're glowing now. عن جد بتعقدي and I recall إنه وقتها كنتي تقولي لي هيك you used to make my day. كون مرقة like feeling heavy ما بعرف and هيك تعطيني هاي البوست of confidence and it makes a huge difference. أوقات عن جد it's a small thing that we say whether we mean it أو لا بس it makes a huge difference in someone's life. وأوقات the opposite. We say something negative صغير منفكره كتير بسيط بس it can really change that person's day, mood, confidence. One of the things that you actually also one time you told me you weren't aware probably at the time إنه أنا كان في specific thoughts, fear براسي. But you told me after you said you're glowing, you said, I remember, enjoy it. Enjoy your pregnancy. Now it's the phase where you can enjoy, like love yourself, love this phase. And I remember I left my office that day feeling and thinking extremely positive about pregnancy. And it's like a decision made, like every single day I'm gonna love it more and more and I'm going to enjoy it a lot. And that's really huge. And I'm very thankful that I have you in my life. Yeah, for real, as support, as this comforting, soothing person. It's a privilege for people to really have the right people around them during pregnancy, during birth, after giving birth, and during toddler phase, all of it. But yes, to answer your question, بوقت الحمل حتى مثل ما قلت أول 3 أشهر كان في توتر لأنه again like there are so many risks بأول 3 أشهر that we hear about. So 2 things changed it. أول شيء I recall كمان having a friend and while I was discussing with her and I was telling her, ادعي لي إن شاء الله everything is good, everything will be okay, وعندي check up, I want to check the heartbeats وكذا. And she's like, Hiba, I know that you're someone with a lot of faith. Auntie, do you have control over your heartbeats right now? And it's like, it shook me. And no, she's right. قالت لي, it's the same. You have no control over ربنا شو عاطيكي هلا. So let go. Trust the process. Go with the flow. And it's, in other words, enjoy it. خلاص, live it. ربنا حيسر. And من هيدا part, I was enjoying. I was more relaxed, more happy throughout the pregnancy. I was just like nesting, with preparing, with thinking of how I wanted everything to be perfect, how I want to have a natural delivery, how I need to prepare myself for a natural delivery. What do I need to do? Do I need to walk more? What should I eat? What shouldn't I eat? Like, I was too focused on having everything smooth and enjoying.
And is there a reason why? I mean, I know for the obvious reasons, I think a lot of us sort of seek that natural delivery because we have it in our minds that it can come with a smoother recovery. But for you specifically, is there a reason why you were so adamant on having a natural delivery?
To be honest, I think as you mentioned, the majority, or at least many people, not to say majority, لأنه weirdly there are people يعني they select to go through C-section. بتذكر على فترة كنت ترند بلبنان، ما بعرف إذا بعدها، إنه 10/10/2010 ما بعرف these people أخذتوا شيء different بالحياة. I have no idea. بس for me it was like لا أكيد إنه الاسم is natural طبيعي, so it's automatically better. أنا بطبعي كمان I'm the type of person that tries to avoid medication heavy pills stuff as much as possible. For me automatically my brain was shifted into I would prefer and I would want a natural delivery. And one of the obvious reasons إنه recovery تاعولها كتير fast. يعني I was very passionate about how quickly I will be able to hold my baby, to take my baby walks. Like, I was visualizing those moments. The only way to happen fast is through a natural delivery. So that's why in specific هيك كنت حابة to go through the process, to go even through the pain of it as a mother, to experience it, وأمرق فيها أعرف شو بيصير. That's why I really wanted a natural delivery.
And when did you know that you were actually going to have a C-section? Did you have time to adjust to that? Tell us a little bit about from the moment you went into the hospital.
So what happened, I was in one of the regular checkups that I do with the doctor. And throughout the whole period, throughout the whole pregnancy phase, I reached the final stages of my pregnancy where I was being assured that everything is on track, everything is fine, and that I'm going to have a natural delivery. حسستني بالأمان لدرجة إنه I cancelled other options. I cancelled the idea of C-section. It was not expected at all. لأنه, as I mentioned, throughout the whole phase, everything was good. All my exams were good. All my checkups were good. I was at that random checkup on a Friday. And then on that same Friday, where the cervix was not even open, I was told, you need to be admitted on Tuesday for an induced induction. كمان I was not familiar with the term لا بالعربي ولا بالإنجليزي شو induced induction اللي هو التحفيز أو الإبرة اللي تعمل طلق اصطناعي. I recall very well إنه عم بسألها إنه شو يعني, like I need more information, Why is that? And the only answer I got at that time, I know the baby is small, so it's better. Like, I didn't get clear medical reason of why I'm being rushed into a C-section. And I had only like Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to think about it. So it was very pressuring. Again, as I mentioned, قطعت 8 شهور 9 شهور. You're feeling very comfortable, you're trusting the process, and then suddenly you're pushed or rushed into this direction. It's too overwhelming, it's too scary, because you can't think right. Already you're not yourself to a certain extent. I wanted to ask more people other opinions, but there were too many noises, too many sounds at that time. Even when I was asking the people that I trusted behind the process, at some point I was told, like, it's on you, it's your responsibility. Imagine as a first-time mother, where you're suddenly learning that even 10 days prior your due date, you are going to be induced, not knowing the term, not being prepared, like none of it, and you are rushed, pushed into a C-section. And then I was called again, and I was told, no, you need to come on Monday, not Tuesday, which did a huge anxiety or fear. I'm like, are they telling me this because there is something, they figure out something? Like, you can't think properly. عن جد وقتها خلص في شيء ما بقى بتشوفي كتير properly. في شيء اللي هو your gut feeling عن جد، اللي هو بيقلك وكان عم بيقلك كل الوقت no, don't do it, no, this is not comfortable, لا, you need to know more. بس بنفس الوقت في كتير أصوات، يعني the person أو the medical care provider اللي هن لازم يعطوكي the actual direction. مثلا they're telling you it's on you. كيف it's on me? I'm here to get the right advice, the right care. I felt like خلاص, I was defeated at some point and استسلمت, and I'm like, I'm going. And I was admitted on Monday. And after 2 days in the hospital, I gave birth, C-section, on Wednesday, where definitely بوقتها يعني it's not just the physical pain, it's truly the mental pain with it that comes with it, like how you feel بعد 2 days of yes, you're being physically drained بس mentally مدمرة. Like, people do not discuss a day it's as big, as important. وقد ما في فوكس على هيدي النقطة، لأنه بيحكوكي بالعملية، بيحكوكي بشو البروسيس like factual probably، بس ما بيقولوا لك إنه this what comes with it, this is how you'll be feeling, this is how you need to be prepared for it. especially بالطريقة الرش اللي صارت، اللي لإلي didn't make sense at the time at all.
And when you were called to come in on Monday, were you at any point told that an induction can lead to C-section, or were you being, told that don't worry, you're going to have a normal delivery, but you just have to have an induction with it?
Funny enough, that same morning, even in the morning, I refused to go into not fully refused, but I still had doubts. Like, I was still giving myself chances and wanted to ask more and more questions. And that same morning, I was assured that I'm gonna have a natural delivery. And I had zero information that if you go through induced induction, and your cervix is not open yet, it's most likely and the percentage is more highly that you'll end up in a C-section and not a natural delivery. But the message that I was given, that no, we will induce you and we will give you as much time as possible for a natural delivery. And by that time, they were referring to the hours of pain and physical and mental drainage that I went through for those 2.5 days or 2 days.
You went into the C-section. Your little baby was born. What were your first reactions or emotions to the situation as a whole? Did you feel present in the moment, or did you feel like your mind was somewhere else?
You know, that was also a huge mix of feeling. And I think because your body after birth is, and your brain is prepared in a specific way to probably do both or live both, but also affected in all the situation overall. So what I recall, automatically, when I heard her voice, my only thoughts were protecting her. كنت بالأوضة وكل الوقت عم بتطلع عليها، هن وعم بينطفوها وعم بسمع صوتها اللي عم يقتلني. I wanted just to stand وأحملها. بنفس الوقت في تعب منه طبيعي بعد 2.5 يوم، فمني feeling helpless. You feel like you had no choice over your body, over your preference. وهيدي كتير صعبة إنه أنت ما عطوك الخيار. يمكن I would have as many people who preferred C-section over natural delivery or pushed for it. Many people they tell me إنه يي كتير أسهل لأنه you select the date، بتحضري شنطتك، بتفوتي، بتطلع. For me, it wasn't that, and I was not prepared for it. So at that moment, I was in bed, too drained, too tired, hearing that little voice اللي عم بيخزقني، اللي عم يقتلني، ومش قادرة أقوم، مش قادرة أعمل شيء. I only wanted her على قلبي وعلى صدري. I wanted to do the skin to skin. Like I wanted to maintain as much as possible my birth plan اللي كان بدي إياهم. I was trying to do them. I ended up with C-section, but at least let me do the other natural stuff اللي I wanted to do with my baby. It was a mix of feeling.
So honestly, Habibi, like, I know your story. We've talked about it before. But I can tell that to this day, you have a little bit of pain from that story. And I can only imagine what your postpartum was like, because postpartum is very difficult. And you went into it having experienced something that you did not process, you did not prepare for. You had just started your motherhood journey in a way different than what you had expected. So let's talk a little bit about postpartum. How do you feel your recovery was after leaving the hospital?
Actually, that's why I'm really glad that I'm here. لأنه وقتها كنت قاطعة فيها ما كنت اسمع كتير عالم تحكي about it لدرجة it affected me even way more. لأنه I felt too lonely after feeling defeated, after feeling drained, after feeling إنه I had no choice. بعد الزيادة ما كنت لاقي كتير هيك points or people to relate to. Can even قبل my experience, only one friend out of so many friends, only that same friend that I talked about, close friend, we had the phone conversation. She gave birth قبل بسنة أو شيء هيك, and I recalled by that period she was saying, I hate it. I hate newborn phase. I hate giving birth. And low-key I was judgmental. I was like, ولو لا مش بس يضحك البيبي بتنسي كل الوجع وبتنسي كل شيء. And again, that's another humbling experience, because really one of the things اللي كمان I learned as we moved is not to judge at all. because you never know what battle someone is experiencing. You never know how someone's else body and brain is working. For either be there as a human, as someone who can validate someone's else feelings and support that person, or خلص, don't say anything. I recall no, it was not easy at all. I suffered from a terrible, horrific postpartum depression. Maybe what's كمان interesting بوقتها إنه I was not aware it's fully a depression. لأنه what's more common, what's more talked about is baby blues. بس ما بيحكوا عن depression أكتر. حتى that's why you have the 2 weeks checkup after you give birth. كرمال to check إنه أنت how are you doing, which also didn't went well for me because I opened up about my experience and it wasn't convenient at all. يعني information and the way كمان the approach I got was very bad. It was expected, although I knew like this might come up, but after 2 weeks my postpartum depression, I'm not myself. I'm not prepared. I can't advocate for myself. I was too weak. I was too vulnerable. I'm not used to be that person at all. لدرجة it took a lot of time. It took up to 6 months probably. I didn't realize until after, way after. I knew أنا متضايقة, I knew I'm down, but because of the too many voices, like, okay, with the baby blues, you'd be crying, you'd be feeling down, but there is specific level or limitation قد ايه انت عم تضلك بهيدا الحالة. وقتها كنت ابكي I recall انه قولي الحمد لله انت منيحة والبيبي منيح. أكيد الحمد لله, ألف الحمد لله. لهيدي اللحظة بالنهار بقولها 100 مرة. I'm so grateful. But that does not cancel at all that I was feeling what I'm feeling. I had no control over how I was feeling. I know that many people بتتمنى أو بعد تتمنى بس إنه to experience it أو هيدا حلمهم regardless of طريقة C-section أو مش C-section, and I validate that. And I was there probably بوقت من الأوقات, but that does not cancel again إنه it's tough وإنه I lived through this وإنه this happened. وهيدا الشيء اللي بيصعبه بوقتها, إنه ما بتلاقي كتير resources وsupport اللي لازم يبلش probably من the same caregiver أو medical caregivers يعطوك هيدي details. في focus كتير على مثل ما قلنا your diet during pregnancy. في mentions a lot that there are 2 types of delivery, C-section أو normal natural delivery. But I couldn't find much. حتى in many books that I got before pregnancy thinking I'm being preparing myself, هول السكشن هيك ما بعرف إذا أنا نسيت أو it's true, بس what I recall ما في هالقد هيدا الفوق. it's هيك بيمرقوا عليهم مثل ما بيقولوا مرور الكرام, بس ما في كتير content. ما في كتير moms that talk about it truly. They either forget about it, they either lie about their experience, or they feel انه لا عيب نحكي, عيب نقول, كتر خير الله we're good, the baby is good, فلا بلا ما اقول هلا بفكروني جنات, بفكروني ما بعرف شو. So moms even in close circles, they do not tell you their raw experience. Some people good intention or not, or what is it, they kind of even يمكن إذا مرقوا فيها لأنه they didn't find people to relate to, وقت يشوفوك فيها they wouldn't open up as much. يا عمي ما بدها شي, عملية بتقومي منها عادي, your scar عادي. they minimize the pain, and they don't know by doing that وأوقات in front of your husband or in front of your family, parents, they're بالعكس they're firing back at you بطريقة كتير صعبة. لأنه if you were having the support of those people and they're hearing another person who went through partially similar experience, I بقول partially لأنه we're not the same human at all, we're not the same people, we don't experience things the same way, وكل حدا عنده ردة فعل على شيء بطريقة معينة. فبس your people حواليك surrounding you بس يسمعوا شخص أوقات عم يحكي بطريقة معينة, it's an influence, whether we like it or not, it's an influence. Unfortunately ما كان في enough info, if there were, it was even the wrong info or wrong expectations. يعني as I was suffering, as I was اللي بتذكره وقت أتذكر هاي المرحلة بحس بلاطة على قلبي, بحس pressure كتير قوي, بتذكر قدي أنا I was not functioning properly, قدي I adore newborn babies, a day I love newborn babies. I could only care for my baby, بس ما أقدر أسمع أصوات بيبيات تاني عم تبكي. I was more in fear and anxiety rather than هيك as smooth, relaxed as I expected or as I wanted. And that was just adding pressure. لا, I need to be better, I need to be happy, I need to be enjoying. فمثل صراع جواتك انه I don't have the right to cry but I want to cry, I don't have the right to feel miserable but I am feeling miserable, not that I want to but I am. It's very, very tough. Again, the lack of resources is even more challenging. Social media was even worse for my mental health at that time. That's why it's really important that people are more real, are more open if they're comfortable. Like I was not comfortable talking about this for the longest. Like I can't believe I'm actually here and talking about it and not minding this being shared. It's important because someone that might be listening now or might be living through this, they need to know that it gets way better. It will all be okay. That dark tunnel has a big, big, big light at the end, and you'll reach it and you'll become stronger than ever. And I'm saying stronger than ever because the pain that made it harder for me is I never felt weaker. And I wanted to be strong for my daughter, for myself, for my family, for my husband. And it was something I had no control over. So to anyone listening, I hope they're doing great. إذا هن بهيدا الفيز. If they are struggling, it's okay. Ask for help. Talk about it to someone who validates your feeling, not someone who will tell you قولي الحمد لله انت منيحة البيبي منيح أكيد قولي الحمد لله بس بهيدي الفيز you're not listening, you're like a toddler. don't do that ما logically ما عم يشتغل, logic part منه as active. You'll be fine, you're doing great.
Thank you, Hiba. I think that advice is very important, and I've always said this, but it's okay to be grateful and grieving at the same time. You don't have to justify. You don't have to be one or the other. You can be so grateful for the experience that you went through, for your baby, for your body, for yourself, but you can also be grieving that version of yourself that you used to know. It's a big change. It's a big identity shift. And we as moms should take a minute to, well, take more than a minute, to actually soak it up and to feel okay that we are processing these emotions, feel okay that we are both grateful and grieving, not feel ashamed, not feel like it's not something we should go through, not even, sometimes we shame ourselves because you know the thoughts in your head, you don't even want to say them out loud because you think to yourself إنه لا لحظة يعني I shouldn't be feeling this way. So definitely I think it's so important. Process your emotions, talk about your feelings, ask for help. You know, these are so important to go through postpartum, but also to overcome any kind of expectations that you thought you should have, right? But ultimately, that is your journey. As you said, ultimately, that is what makes you the mom that you are. It is your journey, it's your story, and no one can take that away from you. And that can sometimes give you a sense of peace and a sense of gratefulness in. And so, thank you so much for sharing that. Do you have any other recommendations that you want to add to our listeners, to the mom that's listening out there, who has just had an experience similar to yours, who has been through something that she wasn't expecting, who might be looking at herself thinking, I shouldn't have this scar, I shouldn't have gone through this, things should have been differently? What is one thing you want to say to her right now? And you can say it to the camera, actually.
Of course. So I will share how I made peace with it and what were probably the steps. So can I share more than one thing?
Go for it.
Basically, like I started healing when I understood, like a fascinating term, scientific term, it's called neuroplasticity. It means your brain rewires itself into where the areas that are responsible for empathy and for caregiving for your baby, they increase a lot. والمناطق اللي هي مسؤولة عن السترess بتصير كتير حساسة. That's why moms do experience the postpartum depression and they experience the baby blues. Once I learned this, I processed this, استوعبت okay, so أنا مني هيدا الشخص and this is هلا لفترة معينة. It's not gonna be like this forever. لأنه كمان بهاي الفترة بتصيري تسمعي wait until they become toddlers, wait until they become teenagers. لا, I wanna hear that I'm gonna be great, strong, happy, and they're gonna be amazing. They'll do great, and we'll learn together. So step one was learning أنه أنت you're not yourself. It's normal. The intrusive thoughts, the anxiety thoughts اللي هلا when you mentioned the thoughts, I recall أنه I felt at some points hopeless وارجع حس الجلد of لا ما بيسوى فكر هيك أنا I need to be strong for my baby, I need to be hopeful, I need to be happy. فهيدا البريشر be kind to yourself لأنه أنت هلا منك your normal self but you'll get back to it. So surround yourself, step 2 will crucial, surround yourself with amazing support system. As I mentioned, I have the privilege of having amazing people. For me, كان وقت أحكي معك و feeling validated, not judged, كان واو يعني amazing لإلي. خلص, I recharge myself, my confidence, my energy, and it's crucial. That's why it's amazing that you have this platform right now, because I think who doesn't have Nour in their real lives, they have it through Madinat Mom, and it's a huge. وإن شاء الله يكون really a support to anyone who needs now support, who needs just a kind word, a kind reminder of themselves, any like heart-to-heart conversation that they're not able to do it with anyone around them physically. I'm sure they can reach out. I'm sure they can share what they're feeling, and they can relate to people you're hosting or you're discussing these topics with. If I heard someone probably saying some of these stuff بوقتها, I would have also felt stronger, felt إنه لا, there is hope at the end, there is better things coming my way. Accept your new body. You mentioned the scar. I also had so many challenges accepting my scar at the beginning. I was like, no, she shouldn't have done this to me. No, this shouldn't have happened. No. But I actually accepted it with time. and as I mentioned at the beginning, يمكن ما تتقبلوا أي advice أي شيء, which is fine, process. بس once حتبلشوا تتقبلوا specific things in the right way, or the way you look at things. For me صار بالنسبة لي scar one of the best scars ever, لأنه جاب لي أجمل شيء بالدنيا, something that I'm most proud of, وأكبر إنجاز اللي هو الأمومة. Accept it, ask for support from the right people that will validate your feeling, that will listen to you. Nour, أنت كمان at some point you slapped me in the face with the truth. لأنه you were throughout the whole period, whenever we're catching up, whenever we're having our nights, you'd be super amazing, understanding, listening, biggest support. Until I think بعد شي سنة أو شي, and I was still talking about it. مثل ما قلت بعد في غصة كنت عم بحكي وبرجع بمرق the message of أنا ما نطرت my due date, أنا I should have gave birth by my due date, and you were like wait, التاريخ اللي منخلق فيه, again as someone with faith, هو التاريخ المكتوب regardless of what we went through. كمان it pushed a lot in my recovery. Because I left that day, I'm like, wait a minute, هنجد شو قصتك? You believe in that. So whether it happened this way or the other way, I was led بالأحداث لحتى تصير بهيدي الطريقة. Fine, I'm gonna make peace with it. This is the date. Of course it is the date. I need to work on me getting stronger, me getting happier. So I hope whatever I shared يكون helpful, people can relate to, and even if you're just struggling with, not just, it's not easy, not simple, with the baby blues, you will get better.
I want to make sure we caught that, because that was, I think, the perfect ending to this episode. I couldn't have ended it better myself. I do want to add that I think you've come a very long way. I think you've grown a lot, and I think it's your experience that has helped shape the mom that you are. And I do really believe that all our experiences happen in the way that they're supposed to. And this is what makes our motherhood journey unique. This is what makes it different. Every mother goes through a different experience. It's not unified. It's not uniform. Even your experience from the first to the second will be different. And I think that is what makes your story so special. And so, of course, as Hiba said, you can always reach out to me on Madinat Mom's platforms, on Madinat Mom's Instagram, on our email, contact@madinatmom.com. And if you have a story to share, please do reach out. We would love to share your story. It is so important for other moms to feel like they are not alone. And this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to build that community together. And to end this episode, I do want to give another thank you to our guest today. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being open and vulnerable. And thank you for reminding us that even when things don't go as planned, we can always find empowerment and purpose in our journey, as you did. And I do want to remind our guests that motherhood is not about perfection. Motherhood is a journey. It's a journey of love. It's a journey of self-discovery. It's a journey of growth. And it is those moments, those unexpected moments, those imperfect moments that we will build the most beautiful core memories. And so thank you again for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe below, hit that like button, and until next time, take care of yourselves as fiercely as you take care of your little ones.